Alright? Just following on from my last video about my music experiences. I thought I'd talk more about the day I met Liam Gallagher. You know, a bit more detail. Fucking hell, man. What a day that was. 1996. The back end of 1996. I think it was October, November time. I was in London. I was visiting my brother. My brother lived in Finchley in North London with his bandmates. He was in a band called Happy Accident. And they all lived together in these bedsits. And I was staying with them for a week. But my brother was working as well on some days. And when he was at work, I was at a loose end, you know. So what happened this day, my brother's mate was around, also at a loose end, and me and him hooked up and went out for the day. But the day started weirdly when I woke up. Well, that's not weird, is it? Waking up at the start of the day. What I mean is, I woke up with an idea in my head. That's what was weird. For some reason, I felt it in my bones. I knew that I was going to meet Noel Gallagher. I didn't meet Noel Gallagher. I ended up meeting Liam Gallagher. But initially, I felt, from somewhere, I just felt a very strong sense of fucking certainty that I was going to meet Noel Gallagher that day. And as I say, I went on to meet Liam Gallagher. But this is what happened. So that day, my brother's at work. I went out with his mate, Dave. Now, Dave's from Sunderland as well. He's from Southwick. I'm from Redhouse originally. And so we come from the same area. We know the crack. You know what I mean? He's not a southerner. He doesn't live down there. He's not from down there. He's not from London. So we're both Sunderland lads. We're out and about in London, getting on the tubes. And we decided our first port of call was going to be, I cannot remember the name of the place, but it was a posh area, and I think it began with H, but I'm not sure. It might have been Hampstead or something similar. But we went there first because I think I'd read in the NME or something that Noel Gallagher frequents a certain pub or a certain few pubs in that area. So we went there thinking, oh, he'll be out, he'll be having a drink, we're bound to bump into him. So we went to these pubs, and I think we went to 3 or 4 different pubs, and we never fucking found him. He wasn't there. But we had a pint in each pub regardless. And I think we went somewhere else after that, to another pub, not far away, a couple of tube stops, and he wasn't there either. So we had another pint. And we were quite merry by the time we'd finished looking in pubs, you know what I mean? But I wasn't done. I was disappointed, but I wasn't done. Because I still felt like it was written in the fucking stars that I was going to meet Noel Gallagher that day. So we went somewhere else. My next idea was to go to Abbey Road Studios, the famous Abbey Road from the Beatles album. So we went to Abbey Road Studios. I think I'd read that the band were rehearsing or recording at Abbey Road, so I thought, well, he's got to be there. If he's not out on the piss, he's got to be at work. He's got to be at Abbey Road. So we went there. Sadly, he wasn't there either. I mean, we went in the place, you know, we asked the staff, is Noel in? And we weren't sure if they were lying or not, but we took the word for it and thought, he cannot be there. Obviously, we went sneaking around the back and everything else. Being from Sunderland, that's the sort of shit you do, you know what I mean? You didn't just take no for an answer. You've got to go and fucking try and blag your way in somewhere. Anyway, he definitely wasn't there. But we hung around the place. We had a look at this famous zebra crossing, which, by the way, isn't the original zebra crossing. The road layout's changed, so they've moved the zebra crossing. But we had a walk on it anyway, like all the tourists do. And we wrote our name on the Abbey Road wall, along with all the other people who've graffitied all over it. And then we didn't know what to do after that. You know, we were stuck. We'd been to the pubs that we thought we might see him in. We'd been to Abbey Road. He wasn't there. So what we were going to do next? We were stumped. But we were in St John's Wood, which is a posh area, posh part of London. That's where Abbey Road is, St John's Wood. And we're looking around at these big houses and stuff, and just some random guy walked round the corner. And we'd asked a couple of people, but this random guy, for whatever reason, I just asked him, do you know where Noel Gallagher lives? And he said, yeah, right there. And we're like, what? Yeah, that's his house there. He's standing outside of it. We're like, really? Yeah. And that's when I noticed the scooter. The scooter parked outside. I'd seen them riding about on these scooters, you know what I mean? So I knew it was an Oasis scooter. So I'm like, fucking hell, he's right now. That's Noel Gallagher's house. Unbeknownst to me, at that point, it wasn't Noel Gallagher's house. This guy just didn't know his Gallagher's. It didn't know his Liam from his Noel. He knew the Gallaghers in general, and he knew a Gallagher lived there, but he didn't know which one. He said no. I said Noel. He said it was Noel. Wasn't Noel. It was Liam Gallagher's house. We found that out when we knocked on the door. Oh yes, we knocked on the fucking door. Anyway, so I went up the steps, big fucking, you know, it wasn't like a mansion with a massive grounds or anything. It was just a house on a street, but it had steps leading up to the front door, and it was 3 or 4 stories high. You know, it was a really posh townhouse in a fucking lovely area, so worth a fortune. But and you got to bear in mind it was 1996. Oasis were massive at that time, huge. I'd been a fan since '94 when I first heard Supersonic. I was fucking hooked, and I'd seen them loads of times live before I got to meet Liam. Anyway, Oasis are massive at that time, fucking wealthy people, you know what I mean? So I went up the steps of this house, this big fucking tall house, pressed the buzzer, the intercom. I still think it's Noel Gallagher's house. I says, Noel, are you coming out? Because the voice at the other end fucking answered. Noel, are you coming out? Will you come out and like have a big crack and maybe he's come for a pint? And he went, it's not Noel, it's Liam. I says, oh, fucking hell, really? Aye. I says, is this not Noel's house? No, it's my house. All right, okay. We thought it was Noel's house, never mind. So this is Liam's house. Aye, it's my fucking house. I says, well, do you want to come out and, like, you know, have a big crack on? We'll take you for a pint. Go on the piss. He's like, oh, no. I'm stopping in today, lads. I'm stopping in. Oh, where, man? Where? Come out on the piss with us, man. No, I'm stopping in. Sorry, lads, and all this. So, like, oh, gutted. And I walked back down the steps to where Dave was waiting at the bottom. And I tell him, you know, what had been said and blah blah. Actually, did I? Or was he standing next to us when it was all being said? I cannot remember. Anyway, we ended up back on the path down the steps, back on the path, and we're like, oh, now what? What do we do? This is Liam's house. It's not Noel's. It's Liam's house. But what do we do now? He's not coming out. We're not going to meet him. What about Noel's house? No, well, should we carry on? Still try to meet Noel? And at that point, just as we were trying to decide what to do, some bloke walked up. And you'll not believe this, but fucking later on TFI Friday, this same guy was a regular feature. He must have got to know Chris Evans, and Chris Evans brought him on the show as what he called the ugly bloke. Every week they would have an ugly bloke come on the show for people to laugh at, basically. And he was the very first ugly bloke on TFI Friday. I can't remember his name now, but obviously this was before TFI Friday, before he'd been on anyway, and so I didn't know him at the time. It was only later I seen him on TFI Friday, and I was like, fucking hell, that's him from outside Liam Gallagher's house. Anyway, I'm going to have to cut this short now, cut this off in fact, and do another part 2, because I'm going to have to do something else right now. So what happens next outside Liam Gallagher's house? Tune in for part 2. See you in a bit.